morning, dear students. Welcome to the class. So, today we will start our beautiful poem that is The Voice of the Rain, written by Walter Walt Whitman. Right? Please open it up. So, let's start with the poet first. Walter Walt Whitman was an American poet, essayist, and journalist. A humanist, he was a part of the transition. Transition means a change from one point to another, from one period to another. And that period was, what was that? Just see, between transcendentalism and realism. So he was a part of that period of time when there was a shift from one period to another, right? And that was transcendentalism to the realism. Transcendentalism was the period in 1836 in England, right? Which was opposite to the realism. So, at that period of time, when Walt Whitman was there, when he was writing, so at that time there was a shift from this transcendentalism period to realism, right? So, he was incorporating both views in his works. So at that time, because that was a shift from one period to another, so he was writing about both, right? He was writing about both views in his work. Whitman is among the most influential poets in the American canon, often called the father of free verse. Now I would highlight here what is free verse. Free verse is the poem which is free, as the name mentions. It is free from the rhythm, the rhyme scheme, or the meters, right? But it creates a beauty. It creates beautiful imagery or other things which binds you with this poem, right? And definitely rain is an important thing for all of us, which makes us or the nature beautiful, right? So here we have the voice of the rain. The title must be making you amazed also, right? So why? Because this poem of Walt Whitman presents a dialogue. Yes, my dear, it's a dialogue between the poet and the rain itself, right? The poem presents the cyclic movement of the rain, right? You must have read it in your science classes, right? The cyclic movement of the rain will be explained in this poem. The rain is personified. Yes, the poetic device, first of all, I am telling you over here, it is personified. Why? Because rain, we all know that it is non living, but the poet is saying that it is the voice of the rain. It means he is personifying the rain, right? So the rain is personified to describe herself. Okay, she is describing herself, how she starts from the origin, means the earth, right? And then comes back over here. Okay, she describes what she is and what blessings she showers on earth and men, right? So this is the essence of this poem. Okay, now we will take up word by word explanation, and I request all of you to mark down all the synonyms with your pens and pencils, right? So here we go. Let's see. And who art thou? Who art thou? Who art? Art here stands for who are, right? Thou means you. Okay, so the poet asked the soft falling shower. The soft falling shower means falling lightly, okay, dropping lightly. So said I to the soft falling shower. So here I is the poet, right? The poet is I over here in this line. Okay, let me just read out the whole extract, then I'll explain again. And who art thou? Said I to the soft falling shower, which strange to tell, give me an answer. As here translated, I am the palm of earth, said the voice of the rain. Eternal, I rise, impalpable, out of the land and the bottomless sea, upward to heaven, whence vaguely formed, altogether changed, and yet the same. So, my dear, mark it out. Who art thou? Art stands for are. Thou means you, right? I stands for the poet. To the soft falling shower. That means dropping softly, right? Falling lightly. Which strange to tell. Which strange to tell. Give me an answer. As here translated, I am the palm of the earth. Translated means here the poet translates, right? What rain answers. Okay? I am the palm of the earth, said the voice of the rain. Eternal. Eternal means perpetual, everlasting. Okay? Impalpable. Impalpable means that can't be touched. Impalpable means that can't be touched, right? Then mark it up. Bottomless. Bottomless means fathomless. Fathomless means अथाह, जिसकी कोई मतलब सीमा ही नहीं है. Okay, that can't be described, which has no bottom. Okay, bottomless sea. Fathomless. Okay, so now see. And who art thou? Said I to the soft falling shower. The poet asked the soft falling shower of the rain, who are you? Right? What's strange to tell? The poet says that it must be strange. Strange to whom? Strange to the readers, right? And it is really strange to tell in words that she gave me an answer. Who gave me an answer? The rain gave me an answer, right? As here translated, and here I am translating it for you people. You stand for all of us, for the reader, right? Sorry. I am the palm of the earth. The poet is, taking the rain as the palm of the earth. Excuse me. The voice of the rain answers that she is the palm of the earth. Why? Because, as the palm or the rain, they both rejoice us. They make us feel happy, right? The palm is, the thing which touches to our head and heart. And same way the rain, when it comes, for the literary people, it has some music, right? The pit pat, the tap tap, or the pit pat or of that rain has some music in it, right? That makes us, happy. Okay, same way the poem, when we read it out, we become happy. Okay, it rejoices our mind, it touches to our head and heart, it touches to our soul, right? So the poem or the rain is compared to the poem of the earth, right? The earth finds its romantic mood and expression through the showers of the rain, just like the poem. Okay, so that's why the poet has given the beauty to it by comparing it with the poem, right? The rain, as it is, it always gives the romanticism, right? And full of expressions, right? Same way is the poem, right, my dear? Said the voice of the rain. The rain said that I am the palm of the earth, right? I am the eternal thing of this earth. I am the thing which gives it romantic mood and expressions, right? To whom? To the earth. Okay? So, eternal, what I said, it is perpetual or everlasting one. Okay, so perpetually I rise out, I rise, impalpable. Impalpable means that can't be touched. So I rise without getting touched by you people. Means as we all, when we boil, water, so what happens? Some water evaporates, right, in the vaporized manner. Okay, so same way I start. This is the cyclic movement. Now the cyclic movement of the rain has been described. So how I start or I rise impalpable, untouched, in the vaporized manner out of the land, from this land and the bottomless sea, the fathomless sea, right? Means this is the origin of the rain. Who is the origin of the rain? The earth, the land, the bottomless sea, right? So I rise from here untouched upward to heaven, then I move upward to heaven. Once means from where, right? जहां पर जाकर मैं vaguely formed. Vaguely means not clearly, right? Not clearly or in an indefinite manner, right? So in this extract, the poet is defining the cyclic movement of the rain, how it starts and how it goes upward and then how it comes back. Okay, so eternal, perpetually I rise untouched out of this land and the bottomless seas and goes upward to heaven, from where vaguely formed, from where I get some, indefinite manner, just like in the form of the clouds. Okay, so the rain rises out of the land and bottomless sea upward to the sky. There in the sky, she takes its birth or shape in a vague form, right? In the form of clouds. Okay, though the form is, completely changed, altogetherly changed. No doubt it was a droplet, now it has become a cloud, and over there it is condensed into some hailstorms, either in hailstorms, right? And then when it becomes heavy, the cloud becomes heavy, then it falls down on the earth again in the form of droplets, right? But yet the same, but I remain the same, means the drop of the water which was starting its, journey from the earth, it comes back, it reaches back after changing its form to the earth again in a different. Is it a different manner? Not. Yet the same means earlier I was changed, but now I am the same. Okay, the same droplet which starts from here, the same droplet comes on the earth, right? Now see, I descend. Descend means fall down. I descend, fall down. I fall down to lave the draughts. To lave means to wash, to clean up the draughts. Draughts means rainless and dry situations. Okay, हिंदी में जिसे सूखा कहते हैं. So I come down or fall down to wash away all the rainless and the dry situations. Okay, atoms means the small or fine particles. Each and every fine particle is fulfilled by the rain. The dust layers means the strata of the layers. They are also lowered down. We all know when the rain comes, all the dust gets back or lowered downs, right? And everything becomes beautiful. The rainwater is really pure. We can even use them in batteries, right? Everything becomes oxidized. The trees, the leaves, they become green. They become clean, right? So everything becomes beautiful, right? So I stands for the rain. The rain fall down to wash the draughts, fill each and every fine particle, right? Lower down the dust layers of the globe here stands for the earth. Okay, the whole earth's dust layers would be lowered down with the arrival of the rain. Clear? And all that in them without me were seeds only, latent means hidden, unborn. They were unborn. Unborn means not born yet. Okay, so all that in them means in the earth, right? When we sow some seeds inside the earth, and if we don't water, can they be germinate? No, you must have seen or read it in your science class, right? When we put some moisture or some water into certain pulses even, then it sprouts out, right? So same way, if the seed is kept in some dry situation, it will not sprout out. Okay, but if it will get some moisture or some water, then it will sprout out again into a big tree. Okay, so all that in them without me were seeds. The rain says that all the things, they were completely in the form of seeds only. Okay, but when I come, then when they were just hidden, okay, they were only latent, unborn, they were all togetherly, all were seeds lying in the earth, remain hidden and unborn. Okay, but when I come over here on this earth, they sprout to life. Okay, they sprout out and they sprout to life and are in a tree and make pure and beautify it. Okay, so I make it pure. To whom it make pure? It makes pure the origin. The origin is the birthplace, and the birthplace is the earth. Okay, so I make it pure. I make the earth pure and beautiful. Is it clear? Now, what the poet says now, and forever. Sorry, one line was missing over here. Yes, and forever by day and night I give back life to my own origin and make pure and beautify it. So all the seeds which were, under the earth, they remain hidden and unborn, and as soon as I come on the earth, they sprout out into big trees or they sprout to life, right? So now the rain, these are the sorrowful lines of the rain. The rain is lamenting over here. Why? That she says, and forever by day and night I give back life to my own origin and make pure and beautify it. The last two lines, which are in parenthesis, they are just somewhere, it is the lamentful, feeling of the rain, that you reckoned or unreckoned, For song issuing from its birthplace, after fulfillment, wandering, reckoned or unreckoned, duly with love returns. Reckoned or unreckoned, what does this mean? Whether you notice it or not. Mark it down, beta. Reckoned or unreckoned means whether you pay attention to it or not, or notice it or not, or heeded or not, right? Three synonyms I am giving you here: heeded, noticed, or pay attention to it or not. Okay. And forever. Forever means day and night. The rain says day and night, endlessly. I give back life to my own origin. I stands for here rain. The rain says that I always give life back to the place of the origin, that is the earth, and make it pure and beautiful. I always make it pure, washing down all the dust and impurities, right? I always wash out all the impurities and make it beautiful, right? Now these two lines are in parenthesis or the brackets. Why it is so? Why it is so? Can you see it over here, right? So why it is kept in the brackets? When you write something and you want to explain something, okay, or that meaning is just for you, so you write it in the brackets, or it is giving some elaborative meaning, right? So here these two lines are put in brackets because first he gives the description of the rain, and now here he is giving the short description of the music. For song means the music, right? That's why he has put it in the brackets, because the whole poem is related to rain in the earlier lines, but here he is talking about the music. And moreover, the rain is compared to the music as well. Okay, there is a comparison between the rain and the music. It is compared. Okay, compare, the poet is comparing the rain with the music. That's why he has put it in the brackets. See how the rain is called the song of the earth. Okay, as we have done it earlier in the second extract. Yes, that I am the poem of the earth. Okay, the poet is comparing the rain with the poem. So here in this line, he is comparing the rain with the song of the earth. How? When we start some CD or something, so what happens? It starts from one place, right? From CD player. Then the whole music. Can we just stop it? No, right? It moves on, rejoicing each and everyone, right? Refreshes the mind or the head and heart or the soul of each and everyone, and comes back to the origin. Okay, same as I have given you earlier example also, that when we throw the ball on the wall, then it returns back into the same force, right? It goes on the wall and then returns back to us. Okay, so same way the music starts from the origin and then comes back on to the origin, whether you notice it or not. Some people are interested. If I'm interested in music, then it will rejoice me. If I'm not interested, then it won't, right? So whether some person notice or not, can it be if I'm not noticing, if I'm in a bad mood but the other person is in a happy mood, so can it be possible that the feeling of that music won't be captured by the next one? No, it will be captured by the other one. I'm not capturing, but the other will capture it. Right? So, same way, when the rain comes, either in the daytime or in the night time. Okay, it comes on the earth whether you notice it or not, and make the earth beautiful and pure. That means so. See the beauty in it. And as I was explaining you, some lament words are also there, whether you notice it or not. And it happens. Some people, like me, I'm a literary person. I always love to, see, to witness the rain. Okay, but some people, they don't pay attention to it. Okay, but the rain always come and goes, right, making the earth beautiful. Okay, so it happens with the music as well. She rises from it like a song upwards, and after completing her operations, सब operations complete किए, सबको rejoice किया, comes back to the earth duly, duly with love returns. These lines are really important. Duly with love returns. कोई ध्यान दे, whether you notice it or not, it rejoices you, it makes you feel happy, right? It brings back love to the origin of the earth, origin of the rain, without caring whether someone notices it or not. See the beauty, right? So the earth, the rain are the song. They start from the origin, right? And after fulfilling their all operations, they come back to the earth. But is it the final thing? No, they come back with the love, right? And without caring whether you notice it or not. अंदर से दुख नहीं होता फिर उसका. ये लेमेंट भी मेरे को फील होता है कि यस, द रेन इज फीलिंग इट, कि कुछ ध्यान दे रहे हैं, कुछ नहीं. बट द थिंग इज दैट रेन नेवर केयर्स वेदर यू look at her or not, right? Now see the poetic devices. Yes, as I told you in my earlier words, the poem is all packed with personification. The rain is personified here. Although it is a non living thing, but the poet is personifying the rain, right? So it is the personification. Then see this third line, I am the palm of the earth. Can it be? Can rain be a poem? No. The rain is compared to the palm of the earth, right? That's why it is a good example of metaphor. Without using as or like, we are comparing rain with the palm of the earth, right? That's why it is a metaphor. Then see here, bottomless sea. Yes, and the bottomless sea. Okay, so here the poet is, exaggerating the things. Sea, then bottomless sea. Okay, fathomless sea. So, जब किसी बात को बढ़ा चढ़ा कर कहा जाता है, then it is called hyperbole, right? When we exaggerate a thing, that is called hyperbole. You all have done it earlier when I gave the presentation of the poetic devices, right? Then one more is there, soft falling shower in the first line. Soft falling shower, right? As I told you, this poem is full of, imagery. While we read out all the poem, soft falling shower, when we say this, don't you create a picture of the rain in front of your eyes? There must be, right? So it is called imagery. When it touches to our five senses, right? When we say the music, right? So our ears, they become alive to get some, vibrations, the rhythm of the music, right? So that's why it is called and imagery. Right? So these are the poetic devices which have been used in this poem. I believe it is clear to you, right? Please go through with it and do the questionnaires as well. Thank you.